There it is.
Hello.
We are live. Gentlemen, gentlemen, lover boys, best friends, friends,
Pals.
pals,
Buddies.
Big boys.
lovers,
Oh, yeah. My favorite part.
drinking buddies.
Fighters.
Survivors.
Deniers.
Conspiracy
Cult
theorists.
members.
No, they just derail immediately. Gentlemen, how we doing?
Doing good.
Little late start here, but
Yeah.
vibes are high. Feeling good.
Feeling good.
How are things in your worlds?
Start with this guy.
Going pretty good. I had my birthday party, which was a lot of fun. They were both there.
The big 6-0. How do you feel? You're looking great, man.
I'm like Benjamin Button, you know. I'm
Did
just
you
gonna
get
get
reversed?
younger and younger every year.
You're almost at the middle point where you look the same age as everyone else.
Yep, almost there. But no, it was a lot of fun. We did like a murder mystery party with it was a pirate themed, and it was a lot of fun. I felt like I had good engagement, and the game itself was pretty fun. I think there was a few things we would have, or we wish like would have changed, but overall, I think it was a good time.
It was good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Gaming though. So before the stream, me and Billy were talking about. He got a chance to talk with my friend who plays the Grand Blue game, and they were talking about live service and stuff. And I started playing this. It's called Zenless Zone Zero.
Wow.
Zenless Zone Zero
Sounds
Yeah.
like a snooze
Triple
fest.
Z?
So Triple Z, yeah.
with extra Z's.
It's made by the same people that make Genshin Impact, so there's a lot of money going into it, obviously. And I enjoy it. I'm digging it. I'm digging, like, it makes me more sad about Grand Blue that it's not live service, because I'm looking at this one, I'm like, this is cool. Like, I love knowing that this game is like just barely starting.
Yeah.
And I just got in. I think it's been up and running for a couple months, but it's on PS5 and probably other consoles. It's free. And it's a gacha game, obviously, so you gotta, they want you to spend money. But I feel like it's generous enough in what it gives, and the combat itself is really fun because it's what it is it's so it's like you got your basic attack, and then you have like a heavy attack with triangle, and then the fun part though is when an enemy attacks, to counter them, you switch characters. So you have 3 characters on your roster at all times, and when they go to attack, you counter by switching characters, and the character will come and block it, and you go right into their combo. And so you're constantly moving between these 3 characters, and I like the mix of, like, you're getting 3 different playstyles basically.
Sounds like a fun gameplay loop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm really digging that. I'm still in the story mode. Like, I know end game is probably where you want to be. That's when you have the full game, but I'm enjoying it. Story mode's decent.
Sick.
So that's what I've been doing. What
I
about
just-
y'all?
I just wrapped up an achievement called Seasons of the Dragons in Guild Wars 2. It took me probably 120 hours to complete, but it gives you a free legendary amulet, and
Wow.
it was incredible. And also it
Legend?
synergizes.
Wait for
Legendary.
Dairy.
That's right. And it was it synergizes well with some of the other collections that I want to do. So you basically have to go back to some of the older parts of the game and grind some currencies and stuff like that, or not grind. There was nothing about it was grindy. You just
Except
actually had to.
120 hours.
Yeah.
Well, it took a lot of time because it was just that much content to go through. Basically, I went to these old maps that, basically this content makes you go back to probably a 6-year gap in content, or like of content span. So you basically go to all the maps from the expansions and from some of the living world stuff, and you basically just go and play them. Like, part of the achievement, you have to collect like generally like 9 things, and so some of them will be like, go gather these like currency, go gather these like wood, ore, or crop, which is just found in the world as you kind of explore through. So you make money doing that.
Nice.
And like doing events, you got to do like 20 events. So you just kind of like go through the map and kind of do the meta event or do some of the side story stuff. And then They'll have like complete the jumping puzzle and stuff like that. So there was nothing grindy about it. I was not doing the same thing like repeated over and over and over. It was just basically go through these 24 maps and experience the content. And then at the end of that, you get a legendary amulet, which is insane value. And all the while, the stuff that you get while collecting it, like gives it's actually really good gold per hour. So it wasn't like I was just diverted my time doing only that. I was actually like boosting my account as well going through that stuff. So I wrapped that up right before you guys got here, actually, and I'm super happy.
That's why
That
he
explains
wasn't.
why he didn't answer any of our messages today.
correct.
I asked,
I
do you
was
want Chick-fil-A?
closing it out.
Are you still not eating with us? And
Oh.
you just no response.
Mm.
Like 3 hours.
So you just assumed I didn't want any.
Yeah,
Yes.
because I was like, well,
It's a good call. It's a good call, gentlemen.
And then I
Got my
said,
back.
Billy,
Shut the
I
fuck up.
need your fucking advice.
Help
Please.
me!
If
I have 5 minutes.
I have 20 minutes. All I need is a yes or no on this situation. Can you please give it to me? He didn't respond. I lost my job.
Nice. Nice. No, it was a lot of fun. It was probably it was at least over 100 hours of content to go through. But again, it's like a 6-year. I went through 6 years of maps. You know, like this is not an achievement that you get over time, and it's also like you get a free legendary weapon, which is a crazy value. So not weapon, it's legendary
Amulet.
piece. Yeah, amulet. And so
You could probably hit someone with an amulet.
yeah,
You
right?
could.
So like I don't even what would be an amulet, like something you would wear around your neck.
Yeah,
it's like
it's
a
a
locket.
Like a little locket,
Yeah.
right? So
Has
there's like
a-
6
A
legendary.
picture of all three of us in it when you open it.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. There's my legendary amulet right there.
That's why Geralt always says, actually he says my medallion.
my amulet's howling.
He doesn't say my amulet. He says my medallion is humming.
My medallion is humming.
Yeah, because when it like
senses magic.
yeah.
It vibrates when magic is happening.
So him and Yennefer. No.
Well,
So it's called the Prismatic Champions Regalia, and it adds
I've
this
heard you
cool.
talk about this before, actually.
It gives you this cool little aura effect.
Wow, and it doesn't even show up as a necklace.
No, it's just an aura. All the trinkets besides your back piece does not have a status effect.
The necklace
like doesn't
is
show on your body.
is actually that guy.
Ah.
A little mini
You wear
figure.
a human around your
You wear-
neck. Yeah, nice.
He's alive too, and he's just
So
like in Baldur's Gate 3 with the fairy that you can keep trapped in the lamp the whole time. That's the guy.
that's it.
You know, I never let it go because I thought it was gonna run away.
Really?
Like I was like, I'll let you go after I need you, and then I go to let it go, and it like I couldn't after I beat the mission. I was like, oh,
Ooh, sorry. Guess you're stuck.
Yeah.
The other big news that I have too is what? Oh, I'm still talking about my thing.
okay.
Yeah, but wait, I don't care about
It's
him.
all right.
I don't
It's
care
okay.
about him. In fact,
I already
there's a
told
wall.
you. I asked for advice earlier, and he ignored me.
Exactly. We're just
So,
going to continue.
We're moving
that.
on.
We're
Okay.
moving on. I'm not moving on. I'm still in the same topic. The other big thing is
I had
my
this
brother
dream
gave
the other
me
night.
His account. Go ahead. That's all I have to
Just
say. My brother gave me his old account.
I'm just being an ass back. So,
your brother gave you his old account.
Yes.
In what?
In Guild Wars 2.
So now
So
you're
now I have 2
now you're
accounts.
double
No,
playing.
he had some shit that I need.
yeah,
Two
2
different computers.
keyboards.
So this guy was crazy. He would log in every single day for like years, even though he didn't play the game. He would just log in.
Wow.
And he built up this currency that you can only earn by logging in every day. Obviously, I can't grind that out,
Yeah.
you know. And they've since reworked it and stuff like that. But he ended up having like 200 of the things that I need, and it's gonna save me probably like a month of my time.
that
Damn.
is so random and perfect.
It's fucking perfect. And so I got in there and was able to sort of do that and look at his.
Like, was he
characters
doing
and
this?
stuff.
Was he logging in recently, or
He
It
logs
just-
in probably once a month or so. Recently, it's gotten like maybe every 6 months. But yeah, like he was pretty religious about it. No idea why. He just logged in, would see the dancing chest, and close
just
it out.
that
Yeah.
good stuff? You know, you just get, sometimes you just hit that
Yeah.
ping.
So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. What have you been up to?
Well, now I feel weird
What have you been up
after
to, pal?
all of the
All the hype
talk
and
of the-
excitement, and now you're like, I
Yeah,
really
I'll tell you what
haven't
I've been up to. Nothing gaming.
Really?
Yeah, it's this new game.
Straight push. Oh wait.
It's called Nothing.
Oh.
Is
Okay.
it difficult?
It's not that hard.
What are you doing there?
I'm joking. There's no.
What do you have to do?
I'm terrible at improv. If that's
What about? I don't think you're terrible. I think you just gave us a story actually here, just outside the house that where you shows you're really great at improv. Actually,
outside
Yeah.
the house.
yeah,
About your
about
meetings.
something in the morning
Oh,
that you just
no.
riffed on. But anyway, the
Actually, I've been watching Bridgerton. Believe it or not.
Bridgerton.
Yeah.
Bridgerton.
Just finished
Interesting. Oh,
Bridgerton.
You're into it?
Yeah,
You
actually,
gonna follow it up with Downton
I got
Abbey?
into it. Nah, it's too PG for me.
Bridgerton's
after
like
Bridgerton.
modernish.
Your mom must be so proud you're watching that show.
Oh, it's not like I call her and I'm like, "Hey, mom, did you check out the last?"
Didn't she name a dog after that?
She did, but like Bridgerton's actually not really one of those shows you feel comfortable watching with your family. It's very sexual.
Oh, is it?
It's
Oh,
very
yeah.
Jeez.
romantic.
I had no idea
Hot,
of
steamy.
anything
Yeah.
about it.
Like this, like season 3 was actually my least favorite so far of the season. Season 2 is my favorite, but like the one of the characters, his name is Anthony, and there's so many scenes of him just like eating out his like his wife and like constantly. Like it happened there's at least like 5 times. There's been a scene where he's like literally down there and then he like looks up and he's like what? And then, like it's
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? It's not like 50 Shades of Grey level of weirdness, but it is very like explicit.
In your face sexual.
Yeah.
The only thing I really know about Bridgerton is I love they use Vitamin String Quartet.
They use a lot of Vitamin String Quartet, this band called Domo, Midnight String Quartet, but a lot of like modern songs made classical.
Yeah, they like do an orchestral.
So saying the
version.
show is all about like sex is like kind of doing it a disservice.
But it's a romance show.
it's a
mainly, right?
romance show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the idea. But it's like, I don't know why, but it like hella hooked me.
Wow.
And I got like into it. Definitely not the type of show that like our audience members would be like, let's go check it out. But
Sometimes
that's
it's a nice little reprieve. if
but
you
that
get
is
little
that is
drama.
literally the only thing I've been doing.
I have not watched a show in forever.
Yeah. Last one I watched was X-Men '97.
My wife is regrinding Criminal Minds. I refuse to let her watch that on the living room TV.
Is
It's
it
too violent.
Criminal Minds?
Dude, every episode. It's not
Somebody
like
dies.
it's not like yeah. No. Every
I
episode,
mean-
it's you know like you watch like Castle and it's like you get these like one-off like passion murders and stuff like that, and that's fine. Every episode of Criminal Minds is the most heinous, fucking disgusting like murder
No.
or like Predator or some shit going on, and you're just it turns your stomach, and just like even walking past it. 2 summers ago, my wife binge watched it, and I would just while I was working in the office, I'd come get lunch or whatever, and it was just like, what? And this is just like episode 6, of season 4, and it's like, this is the worst shit I've ever heard or saw in my life. She's like, isn't it great? What the hell? I can't do this, man.
You know what show I've been thinking about going and like, because I've seen like episodes here and there, but I feel like I want to go in and just watch it actually beginning to end is Suits.
Oh, dude. That show is so good.
I'm seeing all these clips on like they're like the algorithm has started recommending it to me,
Mhm. That show's so good.
and I'm like, I think I should just do it. I think I should just watch it from the beginning.
It falls off hard in the later seasons, but that's like every show. It's so like
The
the best parts of that show is good.
The consensus online is the later seasons started being like they started being dramatic for the sake of being dramatic. Like they were adding things that weren't necessary, like character arguments that
pitting
didn't need
players,
to be there, and like pettiness, and like it was like just for the sake of having tension, they were throwing in things that didn't need to be there. Is what I heard.
But what's really cool is that show uses the F word.
Did they bleep it out?
No,
It was on
USA.
USA.
And they changed the rules on USA during the filming of it to where, because it aired at like 9 or 10, they allowed that.
What?
I'm dead serious. So
Huh.
like
It wasn't
season
like
3
cable?
or 4, you'll just hear them drop the F-bomb and you're like, all right. You're like, this is kind of cool. And it was like, once they started doing that, it made the writing way, in my opinion, more interesting. Because it was like, okay, we're catering to the adult audience only. That's that.
Say the F word.
Daniel says you don't watch House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones. I don't. I'm burnout Game of Thrones. I was so disappointed with how that ended. It was so shit. That was one of the worst endings I've ever seen in my life. This
Ever.
it had nothing to do with really the last episode, which like so she flies in, torches the city and stuff like that. Okay, fine. You could see her character kind of going crazy in the end. That's fine. What I have an issue with is they spent like 2 seasons getting Arya, I think is her name, Arya Stark.
Yeah.
Getting her to the northern wall. And then they rushed that shit so hard in season 7 or whatever that they literally go from like King's Landing to the wall and back in one fucking episode. One episode.
I just want it to make sense.
And I'm like, you spent 2 seasons lollygagging her ass to the north wall. Or the Black Gate or whatever it was called. I don't know. What was
you
it
know
called?
what's funny is
So bad.
that's the opposite of the complaint I have about How I Met Your Mother and why I didn't like the last season of that is because the whole last season was like one day on How I Met Your Mother.
It was the worst.
Like
No one
the
was together.
entirety of the last
They just
20
Every
episodes or
hour is
an episode. Yeah, and I'm like, I'm getting burnt out on this one day. Like,
Yeah, and it was like Marshall wasn't even with the group, and you're like, get to the fucking point.
yeah.
Jeez.
Except for like the very last episode where it was like a culmination of like 20 years in one episode. Like it was all one day, and then like the last episode was like all of these events
Like
at once.
appreciation.
Yeah.
Daniel, do you actually have he has a cool like sword not a sword collection, like a little knife dagger collection of like different, like just kind of like cool artistic stuff. Do you have a dagger or like something commemorating Game of Thrones? I feel like I've seen him have one of those, but he has a couple of them displayed in his living room, which are pretty sick. We tried to find one when we went on vacation, but we didn't see one. But he's got like a cool. I like that kind of trinket. It's like there's something like there's a weight to it, you know, like
Yeah.
these kind of toys and stuff like that. They're cool.
You mean nothing
but
to me. You just throw it on the
it's
ground.
just, yeah, right. Like it's just kind of plastic. But you get a knife, you know, if something from like a show. Like, wouldn't it be way cooler to own Geralt's sword than a foot?
Let's look it up.
tall
How much
figurine?
is a replica of Geralt's
Yeah, look it up.
steel and silver swords?
Yes, sir. That I'll
If
do.
we could display that right here,
That'd be
right
sick.
above you, on either side of the.
Well, and the thing, like, so while you're pulling that up, I found a replica of the red sword from Sekiro, and honestly, the price wasn't bad. Like, it was like $200.
Well, I think there's like a huge, wide range of
eBay, like quality.
quality, right?
Yeah.
Like, what am I actually getting?
If
here?
it's a real sword, I would probably say like almost 1,000 per sword.
and is it like hand forged? Like, look at this is $600 right here. That looks pretty damn good.
Those are just steel though. We need like a steel and silver.
Oh, Daniel says one day I will. Dude, you should totally already have one of those. I can't believe you don't with how much you love that damn show. Yeah, these are like
There we go.
I'd-
That's the silver one.
I
with
was
the-
gonna say this is
the
his
arch.
second one, right? With like
his silver swords are the ones with the.
where you
The
fight the beasts
winged-
with.
Well, no, yeah, the beasts. Silver's for monsters. Steel's
Monsters,
for
yeah.
humans.
Yeah.
And the reason he doesn't just use the steel sword for everything is because monsters are not immune to steel, but they're vulnerable to silver. But silver's not as strong a metal, so he has to have 2 swords because it'll wear down
Humans have
quicker.
armor.
If he uses his silver sword for everything else, it'll just wear it down quicker.
This does not give me Witcher vibes. Does that give you Witcher
That's
vibes?
from the TV show.
Yeah,
Ew.
it's
That's
got its
not the-
smiley
I
face.
want nothing with the TV show.
That's not the.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like to me, again, I feel like if companies made cool collector's edition, like I would, if they came out with The Witcher 4 or something,
With like a
that,
high quality,
with a high quality,
forged.
or like his cloak thing that he wears, you know, that sometimes that he wears, like that would be sick, you know, like or a breastplate or so, I don't know, something like that. You might have my interest, you know. It would have to be something that is
Just
already like a
maybe.
brand, you know. So so if the game sucked, it didn't matter. You still had like Geralt's sword because you got the other
See?
stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, 230 for the Sekiro katana.
I wonder what the build quality is. I would look at reviews. They look positive from here.
5 stars, 8,000 reviews supposedly. I don't know.
Suppose
also, then
bots.
Bots.
So then the real me starts to think about like finances
Manganese
of it. And it's
steel.
like, do I need it to be real at all?
Yeah,
It's not like I'm gonna actually wield this thing.
Oh,
in the
I would.
battle.
it's manganese
You-
steel,
I
Kyle.
could just see you like if you ever like worked from home, just like role playing like Geralt in your living room.
Manganese steel
Yeah.
is an alloy steel containing average around 13 manganese. Manga alloy is known. It was used to make military helmets, so it's not like weak metal.
Isn't like manganese like isn't that like the cousin to magnesium? So like super flammable. I don't know.
Very possible, but
light the sword on fire.
That'd be sick.
That would actually look pretty
it's
cool.
made out of liquid mercury.
Well, let's talk about this. This is kind of like our title topic that I wanted to discuss today a
Swords?
little bit.
Game design.
Yeah, game design swords. Like, yeah, absolutely. So that's part of the first topic.
Just that look you
well, you
gave.
just like threw me off with that swords.
Well, because
I
we
need
were
a
talking
minute.
about
Give me a
them.
minute, all right?
Let him cook. I said that like not cool. I didn't say hold up, let him cook. I was like, let him cook.
Chinesium.
What's up,
Chinese.
everybody? If you could drop a like in the stream, that would be super helpful, and we would appreciate it. But no, let's talk about our title topic here today, which is sort of game design. And this is actually funny enough. We're talking about all the swords and like the different design of them. This is sort of what I wanted to talk about, which is how would you guys design armor in your games, or any kind of cosmetic in your games? Because I feel like what we're seeing more and more and more of is this like artifacting of weapons or armor, where it's like got this flashy glow or it's over the top design and it's maybe not practical. And I get thematically like that's going to heavily influence how you would design these things. But I'm curious, like obviously I'm grinding Guild Wars 2 right now, but in that game there's so much, like we were just talking about, like the auras and like all this like effects that you end up just being like a ball of light, and it's kind of distracting and immersion breaking
Yeah.
to some extent, because it's just like, what is that doing in this world? But my question to you is like, if you were building a live service game, what would you guys do for armor sets? Because I think the thing that made me triggered me into thinking of how would we approach this topic was, there's a new expansion coming out for Guild Wars 2 called Janther Wilds, and it's taking a very reduced down philosophy on both the story. Like the story is going to be very mellow. It's not going to be like this world-pending doom. It's going to have like a very like a micro side story, which is kind of interesting. Not everything has to be this like just like the MCU, right? Not everything has to just affect everything and be this
Yeah.
cosmic thing. You can have like side pocket stories. But they're also taking this approach with armor where it's like very reduced down, very conservative, armor styles. And that's not to say like it's just basic leather. There's still really cool design elements in each of the armor sets, but it comes from like a much more conservative place and not this like real flashy, over the top, dramatized armor. So like my question to you guys is, if you were the game designer for a live service game, what sort of tropes and themes would you guys introduce to your armor? Do you like
I
the more
think it's
realistic,
all
or-
so. For me, obviously, it depends on the type of game you're designing. Like, I think that
yeah.
over the top, super flashy things can be cool in a certain way. So, like, if I had a game I developed and say it's like high fantasy or something, I've always been a fan of like armor sets and weapons looking like they could be forged in the real world. Like if it looks like impractical or like something over the top that a blacksmith would like never create, it does kind of turn me off a little bit.
Like it's not even functional.
Like not even functional.
Wouldn't work.
For example, like Daedra armor in like Skyrim.
Uh-huh.
I've never been a fan of that because it doesn't even look like it would. It's all pointy and like big. Like I'd prefer it to look like realistic, unless the character in the game is like some form of a god. If it's like an otherworldly being or like a
Deity.
god or
Magical
deity,
being or
demon,
something.
like some kind of otherworldly something, then I'm perfectly okay with them looking like extreme and like insane, wielding like 600-pound swords and like. But there has to be like a story element as to why that they look different than that. So like that's my only excuse. That's my only like allowance, which is why I've always liked like Dark Souls, for example, is all of the armors and character, like the weapons, for the most part, look like they could be. They're not over the top. They're crazy. Some of the great swords definitely push that for sure, but it looks like it's not. It has a level of realism to the way it's designed. Unless you're fighting like one of the bosses. The bosses always look like crazier compared to what the heroes look like. And I like that approach.
I think Elden Ring does a really good job of that too, where like a lot of the
Not gonna be
weapons-
wrong, there's still great swords and there's
Grafted
still like,
greatsword.
like grafted great stuff like that, but it's
and they're
not
huge, which is a little weird
Yeah,
looking. But
and-
they're not flashy.
it's
I
not
guess.
like Diablo, for instance.
yes.
And some more like Blizzard style of high
Mm-hmm.
fantasy. The Blizzard style of high fantasy is very much like Warhammer type stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like that's like every schmuck on the battlefield looks like that.
We got a handful of comments here. So start with a pen and paper and just start going. Well, now you could do AI art, Millennial Ghost. You could just type in whatever the heck you want and get concept art built right for you. Kyle actually just ended up subscribing to ChatGPT, and
I know.
we
were playing around
mocked
with
up some really cool stuff.
before we get into
I almost
that,
want to pull that up if I can on stream.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can. But go ahead.
pull it up off stream so you don't see my credentials.
That's what I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
Before we get into that,
Yeah.
what's your opinion on it?
I'm a very. It has to make sense in game. So I'm kind of with you, Kyle. But like, I didn't mind the Daedra armor because like all the work I had to go through to build it and all that stuff. Like I believed that the materials I was getting were kind of weird, so it was
Yeah.
gonna look more like godly. But I like it as long as it makes sense in game, and it's not like I'm not a big fan of. They started to do it with Destiny 2, where they make a bunch of stuff glowy, they make it silly, they make it like just out there.
Yeah,
I don't like that. It bugs the crap out of me. It really it was a big turn off for me when with Assassin's Creed Origins they like released the rainbow alpaca or whatever. I was like, that is fucking stupid. Like, and people bought it, but I prefer a more grounded
Destiny is
approach.
so weird because
Yeah.
it has armors that I think are amazing and look
Yeah.
awesome, and then it has armors that are just like crazy and out there, and I'm like, what is going on here? Like,
Yeah.
I think it has a little bit of a flavor for everyone. Is why I've always kind of liked Destiny's system.
Yeah,
But-
and like I don't mind like I like that I have both options in Destiny, or I
Mm-hmm.
have all like people who want to dress like that they can, versus I can dress more grounded. But if I was designing my game, it'd definitely be more grounded. It would be more realistic looking, like the armor, like especially in Spider-Man. If I wear I can't wear one of the outfits that doesn't look like a real suit. Like if it's like they have like these anime ones. They're like anime Spider-Man.
Mhm.
I can't wear those.
Really?
Because it makes the character.
rips it from what you have in your mind.
Yeah, it like changes their proportions, so they like get skinnier legs and they look more cartoonish, and that bugs me. Versus if it was a cartoon game, that's fine, but it's the tonal difference.
So this on screen here is what we generated in about 2 minutes of effort with AI from ChatGPT.
That's amazing.
This is so cool to us. Like we typed in like
So here's the prompt.
yeah, go ahead.
So here's the image. The first one was like insane. And this one actually, believe it or not, this image that you're looking at here, this is a toned down version of the first one that we had. But the prompt is, and Billy wrote this prompt, PvP champion that has gone full berserker with the power of 1,000 suns exploding from his greatsword. And then it gave us like a really over the top image. And then so we fine tuned it finally to say, Here's a more realistic depiction of the PvP champion standing as the lone survivor of an epic battle. The details and textures have been enhanced to give it a more lifelike appearance. So this is completely AI generated, this image that you're looking at. This took about 2 levels of description before
Yeah.
it got to this, a total of 3 to 5 minutes of work. And we talked about this a little bit before the podcast, and we're talking about game design right now. How incredibly useful would AI be as a tool for
Totally.
concept art?
Yeah.
You could take this and have a really good vision to go and run.
You don't have to, you're not making it do the work for you, but imagine how much time an artist would save on just the concept art stage alone. Say, this is what I want. They have this, and then you have this to build off of.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I don't like this, but this looks, I don't like, but I love this.
This
We'll
is
tweak it a little
perfect.
bit.
Remove the meteors. Okay.
Yeah.
Make the battleground into a woody, area, like a woodsy area, alpine area, whatever.
I was like,
Make him Woody.
yeah, make him Woody from Toy Story.
Hide Woody in somewhere in this image. Yeah. But it's such an amazing tool. I mean, this, like you said, it's 2-3 minutes of effort.
Yeah.
And this is incredible. I don't know how well it's coming through on the stream, but the detail in the armor, you just can see the thematic of it. It's so amazing. I mean, I think it looks great. I think it looks so good. And we've had
Yeah, I mean, so Millennial Ghost, you're talking about AI in games. I think that's fair. We don't want AI to develop your game for you. So I think my thing is I would stick with using it specifically in concept art.
yeah.
Just to kind of help the process.
Give you ideas. The concept art that's exactly what it is. It just gives you concepts for ideas, and this would save a ton of time.
Well, you couldn't use it in its current form to generate animations and stuff like that. It really would have to be just used as an inspiration board for sure,
Yeah.
just like anything else is. But it would be this is no doubt in my mind that we're at some point Unreal Engine 6 is going to have some form of AI in there where you can have a conversation with it and build a level. You could say,
Yeah.
"Hey, I want to see, an alpine area with some snowy mountains in the background, and I want to have this type of physics."
We were
and-
talking about the I told you guys about the trees. We talked about that on the podcast here. With the movie studio, they designed an algorithm to plant trees realistically.
Yeah.
That's a form of
Yes.
AI. And
Yeah.
now you just apply it on a bigger scale of a
Mm-hmm.
video game level.
I think it does homogenize a lot of this stuff because I think you'll see a lot of shitty games. It'll be a really high quality shitty games because now really everybody can be making
Yeah.
games and not everyone should be making
Barrier
games.
to entry is lower.
Yeah, way lower. But I think it's a tool that, developers can really use to level up. How would you know it's AI or someone else's design? That's a scary thing. I think that's what people are trying to figure out right now. I mean, I see there's a bunch of Reddit subreddits that it's here's 5 images. 2 of them are fake. Figure out which 2 of them are.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't.
We-
It's
Midjourney?
crazy.
Yeah.
Midjourney's one of them. There's another one that I don't remember the name of. Some of them you're like, dude, this is kind of weird. And then there's other subreddits of people who've been caught using AI, but they're not aware of it, like boomers on Facebook,
Oh.
that are reposting stuff. And you're
So
like,
much.
oh, that's not real. That
They don't
but
know.
we're a year from not even us being able to know.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
right now you look at it and because I'm in that world, I can go, oh yeah, that doesn't make sense. That's just too awkward. Or look at their hand or whatever.
Yeah.
Another year from now, we might not even be able to
Well,
decide.
remember the video with the puppies in the snow?
Yeah.
How close that was to being real?
And then they were just pouring out from each other. They were duplicating randomly on screen. Dude, remember 18 months ago, we were Will Smith eating spaghetti.
Yeah.
That was horrible. And now we're this, on a prompt.
Yeah.
We're getting better.
Do we? So I know we always come back to this conversation,
I love it.
but the more we have this conversation, has our opinions changed? Do we still think, ultimately, I think all 3 of us decided that AI is useful as a tool, 100%. but like what are the implications on getting involved in your everyday to day life, like with game design? Millennial Ghost was talking about this thing with Power World getting in trouble for they used AI to design a lot of their pals, and then they kind of just left it at that. Is that ethical? Is that like, can you sell the product? Or do you think it's okay as long as they explicitly state, how things were created and that kind of thing?
I think there needs to be strict rules in place. It sucks that this is sort of getting yeeted from, like, if you post your stuff online that, algorithms have scraped through it. I think it sucks. I think that's sad. I don't think from a legal standpoint, I don't know what justification you have. Here's my whole take on it. Every single one of these algorithms should have rules in place, okay? Which is like, you can't copy another artist's work over 5%. I don't know what that is, but just 5%. And they define that in some way. Maybe that's the legal limit. I don't care what 5, 10, 20, 50%, whatever that is that people agree that it shouldn't use. And then I think with these tools, I think it's really simple. They should have an audit trail feature that then shows you what is the sources it pulled from and how much each one influenced it. And now, I don't know how that would really be formalized, but you basically parse that data together so that it's very visible as to where this came from and whose work it replicated and to what percent. And if everybody agreed that it's like, if it's below some metric, then it's fine. Because to me, and I'm not an artist and I'm not in this world, I get it. But to me, when AI is doing it, it's no different than me as a human doing it. If your influence is at like 1% or whatever that bar is, because as humans, we're influenced by the world. We see things.
Yeah.
We take that in. How do we even know how much we're being influenced by stuff? We really don't. So like, if you codified it in some way and had an audit trail to where somebody can go through and it was very explicit of where it came from and what's going on.
Oh, this was 80% inspired?
Yeah, exactly.
That's essentially like all the same rules of writing a college paper. Like you're avoiding plagiarism by citing your work and producing original thought. And somehow you have to, put that
Make your own twist.
Yeah, like so an audit trail, like perfect. And then you can't design an image without having some kind of influence or being influenced by something that's already been designed.
And if you think you're going to put the cat back in the bag,
no.
No. It's already loose.
So, I mean, maybe there's a percentage that people are comfortable with as far as like how much it can take from other artists and things like that. Because we're a very long ways away from AI generating true art. If we're gonna how do we define art? Like AI isn't necessarily creating true art. It's using the tools that are already available to it to create something which is really awesome and amazing and would take, any professional artist who knows how long to create an image like that.
Yeah.
But then there's this whole debate then on like what is art? Like it's hard to say.
I don't really have a dog in the fight, and I know that there's people that have a lot better, more formulated opinions of that. But to me, that makes the most sense. And whatever the courts agree on, it says, hey, this isn't stolen if it's limited to 5% or whatever that bar is, 50%, 20%. I don't know what it is, whatever everyone's happy with. I think if you post your stuff on the internet for people to see and it could be scraped, I think it's just fair game. Mm-hmm. I think that's fair game. If you've posted it to a public site, I get you want your compensation. I can see then from there, because remember, these things aren't like doing anything new.
Right.
What they're doing is they're feeding us back to us. They're taking our collective knowledge, which is the internet, which is quite a big database, and feeding it back to us, right? So there's nothing new. So what I could see is a lot of the top tier designers forming together and feeding maybe their own, like maybe they have their own models that they build and train it with their own data. And then you get, because a lot of these, you notice even from the ChatGPT, they all sort of have the same theme. Like the you know what I mean?
It's
like
the
they're
same
all
type of look. Yeah.
Yeah, they all kind of blend in. So like I feel like maybe the next iteration is if they privatize that information or privatize their work, which is a truly original, which is not, it's totally separate from what maybe exists on what these things were trained on. And then they could have their own model where it generates, a certain style that people really like. Go ahead and do that. Just make sure it's not on lines where it could be scraped, and I think that that's fine too. I think that that's where this whole thing evolves to. But the idea of putting it back in the closet, and this beast is already out, and I think it's too powerful, too good of a tool.
Yeah.
We have a comment here, AGI, which is the new term. Are you familiar with this? The new term for it's what AI used to be, but AI was co-opted by mega corporations to just basically mean nothing now. And so AGI is the new term, artificial general intelligence, which is this idea that that's what is actually like human understanding and human learning. So like you would talk to a robot, like the idea of like what AI meant 15 years ago.
Yeah, where it was like it could
A
actually
robot,
it was
iRobot.
intelligence.
Yes, intelligence, correct.
Yeah.
And that is sort of, to me, I think that's inevitable at some point. But I honestly think I heard some really smart people talk about this subject, and they were saying that the technology might have already plateaued with what it does now. So like we think it's really cool when we ask it a question and it gives us really awesome information.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. It's really great. It's really organized. It's not always right, but it's right most of the damn time. I mean, you can get it to lie and do quirky things, and they're going to continue to hone that in and make it better, but it's pretty damn impressive in its current state. I don't know how much better it can get, because if you look at the internet, I have always kind of had this like an eye on things where I read stuff and I'm like, this is not written by a human. I have seen I feel like it might be upwards of 50% of the internet these days when you find like obscure articles that aren't written by humans.
Yeah.
It's like these shitty websites that have really good search engine optimization, like SEO, that pop up at the top, and you read it and you're like, this is optimized to get me to click next, or check this ad out or scroll past this thing. Like, this is not written by a human being. No one would write like this. And so I feel like that tool maybe is about as good as it gets in terms of feeding us back to us. But the idea that it's going to start having creative thought or being able to like pull data together, that's fundamentally not even how these things work.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, these things work by just looking at patterns and matching the patterns. They don't even have like the contextual knowledge of what the hell they're even talking about or saying. It's just like, this was pulled with this, and this kind of fits like this. Okay, spit it out. It's not like conceptualizing a response and then spitting that out in a linear fashion.
You put in A, B, and it gives you A, B. Like
right.
It's finding answers. It's basically,
It's like a search engine.
Yeah.
It's like summarizing what you would do after about 5 minutes of effort, Googling something. And it's really good at doing that. And it's really expensive, I guess, energy-wise, because it's a lot more calculations. But I don't know what the next step is in terms of that tool. I think we're going to get really numb to that at some point and used to it, and it'll get honed and better, and that's great, and I love that.
Well, I do think, like you were saying, I think probably next step is we get it involved more in, like, video games and movies as far as creation of them. Because, like, the amount of time that it could save in certain aspects. Like, I don't think we'll ever... I mean, I'm sure there's going to be, like, movie studios that try to get away with, like, 100% AI films. But...
I don't know if I'd want to watch that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No.
Like, I don't think they'll get away with it. I'm sure they'll bomb. I'm sure they're not going to do good.
You could literally already do that.
Like with the tree example, stuff like that saves so much time.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of having an artist go in there and hand place every single tree, you just boom, and you're done, and you can continue with creating an amazing story. Or like, I'm sure if it doesn't already exist, get an algorithm for like animal fur or hair. Because that's like supposedly really complex and really hard to make because it's always shifting.
All the textures.
And imagine the amount of time that would save and the amount of characters like we could see on screen. Like we could see a lot more like Stitch. They are making the Lilo and Stitch movie.
But you could already auto-generate a script.
Yeah.
could you recreate Ryan Reynolds' work in Deadpool Wolverine? Probably not.
No.
And so there's always going to be that level of how do we not homogenize all this stuff, all this information?
Well, and I don't think it would. I think general audience, I don't think they would support it.
Well, because like the whole point of it is to give you like the best answer, the most well-rounded thing based on this set of facts.
Mm-hmm.
And so like basically that's just going to give you like an average viewing experience. So like a script that it punches out in 2 seconds is going to give you a very mediocre, straightforward. Like what you'll need to do is then have a human interact with it and hone it into their vision. And that's all I see it really being. It's like, could you build a house with a rock instead of a hammer? Yeah. Would it suck? Yeah. So just use the hammer. And that's what I see. I see this as a hammer.
Yeah.
A really effective hammer, but no different.
The interesting part is like AI, the way that it was seen in movies, requires some form of almost consciousness. So they're changing this AI to AGI. Is that what we're like?
AGI is the
new term for
sentience.
No, sentience.
Yeah.
Is AGI?
Yeah, AI would be
okay.
like all the language learning models.
They officially made AI just the language learning models.
Basically, and now AGI is the, what we would assume
conscious
is
and sentience.
Yeah.
Wow.
So while we were talking just now, I was trying really hard to make the ChatGPT create an image of us. And so I uploaded it to our Discord, but there are 4 images of where I tried to make it, and it never quite fit.
Interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
I have a beard. Wow, I'm jacked in that one.
We all are, apparently.
oh,
That one's kind of cool. Hold on, let
Katie ratio.
me transition to the second screen.
What heavy?
So that was the final image.
Heavy Mons.
That's what it ended on.
That's pretty good. So let's take you through the journey here.
We started off like
Yeah. There's, I guess, that only a couple of them popped up, but that's where it started, I guess. We got 2 Baldies.
Joe Rogan in the middle.
And then after some
I love
tweaking,
that.
that's where it ended
Is that
up
Wall
at.
Street Bets dude on the back?
Kinda
the-
looks
the
like it.
crazy investor meme.
We got the android robot just chilling on the counter.
And a soda and a PS4 controller. And like orange juice. So,
I love you're doing the entrepreneur pose.
Nice. And then, are you drinking a soda called The Radio?
The radio.
the radio. You know what? It's funny is I didn't even say that. I like in all of them there was a soda by like the characters.
Look at the movie posters too. We got some
What
chaos.
was so it actually the very first one.
Go to the others. There's 2 others you didn't show.
So that was actually like the third one, and I said make it more about like I think it thought it was a podcast, like a Joe Rogan style podcast. So the first one is actually that was the first image.
That's the first one right
That
there.
was I
Pretty good.
said a podcast about
Wow.
3 friends, and
Like
I
a mug shot.
and I did like very minimal descriptions of like what we look like, and then this is what it thought of, and then I tried to fine tune it a little bit to put you in the middle. You still had a beard, so I said make the guy in the middle drop the beard, and then it went to the third one, not that one. Went to that one, and for some reason you still have the beard, but we all got jacked.
Jacked.
And I'm like, that's not right.
Look
And
at
I
your
was-
hand here.
Yeah.
Molds into your other forearm.
And I was like, they have to look like more nerdy with video game memorabilia in the background, and then that's when it created the final image.
That's hilarious.
And I think nerdy was just.
Did you
glasses.
tell it eye colors?
I said one has blue eyes.
Okay.
One like I tried to be descriptive as possible on everything.
I love this one because I don't have a mic. It's only
Yeah,
you guys
you're
talking.
just watching
I'm
us.
just an observer. I'm really just here for the show.
That's pretty amazing though. Like the art style specifically, like they're so different. That one looks like a Pixar movie. That looks like God of War right there, but
I love in the
not.
background the KD ratio like super big.
but the mugshot. Go to the mugshot.
What
one.
is this? What does this say?
The
Like
unknown or the blah blah blah.
The Oblivion.
Darthon.
Just some random movie. I don't
Yeah.
even know.
Go to that one.
No, the one with the mugshot. That one. We just get a poster of us, where it just is the KD ratio.
But like, you saw how much I was working on. Like that was 5 minutes maybe to
Yeah.
cycle through all these images, and it never quite. If I had time to really sit and like constant until I got the perfect
I mean,
image.
Even this.
We don't even
amazes
need to
me.
knock it, man. It's just
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
incredible. Like we don't even need to add the butt. This is just amazing.
Like, I wish I had that hairstyle. I think I'm. Which one am I?
I think you're in the middle.
No, this is you, right?
No, that must be you.
No, you
'cause I
see the
got
blue eyes in the middle?
Blue eyes.
Because the beard, right? And then
I wish I had that hairstyle.
My hair's slightly darker than yours, so I think I'm in the middle.
yeah.
And for some reason, it kept really wanting to give you a beard.
Beard.
It kept really
It's like,
bald dudes
he's
have
bald.
beards.
yeah.
It's like, what if you put alopecia? He has alopecia, so then it forces it to not have.
Without the mic. In
Look
the
at
middle.
the clock. It's just 4 different
Ah,
times.
yes.
Nice.
That
What is this?
we just ripped off. This.
It's modern art. It's
Wow.
They can get away with it because it's on a poster.
And I love like the KD ratio, the poster. It's none of us. It's just some guy.
that really likes our podcast.
Look at their eyes.
See, that's a
It's like
poster.
his fist.
It's a horror film that we
Yeah.
liked and we put in the background. Look at that mixer. Look at that. I love how you don't have a mic.
And you have a sweater with short sleeves.
A sweater t-shirt.
I love it.
And that's I had very minimal descriptions of us. If I really like
Dove in.
dove in and did as descriptive as of each person, I feel like it could actually end up being really good.
Our artists use long, specific paragraphs to get AI generated reference images at our studio. And even then, they will generate several of them. Yeah. Yeah, I believe it. I mean, that's their effort. It's also, I think, you got to remember, too, that that's probably like their own... They're explaining that there's still effort involved. So, like, they're like, we have to be really specific. So you got to almost take everything with a grain of salt because they're trying to justify their existence at some level still. But like, we gotta be really long description, man. Long.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
I still
And I
think
don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. But yeah, I mean, the fact that that exists.
AI is not replacing art. At least I don't
No.
foresee it. I'm still kind of firmly on the side of it as a useful tool is what it is. Like, if I could even like take this, there's things about this that you're like, okay, that's weird. The clock,
Yeah.
the weird picture in the background with the melting face and the guy like, but if you could take this and like create something out of it, like I like this idea. I like
Or
this
even-
style and then an artist goes in, they tweak it to how you want to, and then I think that would be
Yeah, you would just like say, I like how the characters look in this. Can you make the
Us.
characters look the same, but make them into kind of like use this style, but use us as a reference?
Yeah.
Here's a picture.
Yeah. No, it's
And then they send us an AI.
and that's got to be
generated
like yeah. Then they plug it into their AI.
I'd even go a step further than what you said which you said, AI is not going to replace art. I think AI is not going to replace creativity at its core.
Yeah.
That's really, I think, what we're getting at is, what is art? Okay, it was cave writing, and then it's pencil and paper, and now it's, on a digital tablet, studio, and then now it's AI.
Well,
I
and
think
even-
that it's just evolving, that medium is evolving.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And like, it won't replace. At least I don't think it'll ever fully replace creativity because even like, say if we were going to use this, there's things about this that I don't quite like. So like, if I was an artist and I was like using this for concept art for a video game, I wouldn't just be like, yeah, it looks good. No, we have preferences, right?
No.
So I'd be like, I kind of like what it did with the hair, but
That's literally how. That's how
Yeah, and so-
creation is in real life.
Exactly. So like I think that's a great example of
Yeah.
like even if I was a concept artist, I pulled this up, I would be like, okay, there's things I like, there's things I don't like.
We're gonna
It's
go
not
with
like
this, but
let's send
here's
it.
the changes.
We're good.
Yeah. It's not like you're. Oh, it's done. Like
Yeah.
it's efficient, not perfect.
Yeah.
That's all we're saying here. So.
That's our
But going back to, I guess, the game design thing, because each of you guys had a chance to give your responses. You both like the conservative, more realistic stuff.
Yeah.
I love my fantasy. So I tend to like the more, this style image. And we'll go back to this.
Well-
I tend to love this
Yeah.
style where it's like very dramatized, like over the top, shiny. He's imbuing a sword. Like, it doesn't have to make any goddamn logical sense. I love that shit. I love
yeah.
in the games like having really really I literally have the most cancer looking shit. It is like I am a shining ball of light and you can't make out anything and it's the most ridiculous thing ever. I don't engage in the fashion things. I
But-
just want to be loud.
It fits in game, yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So like I would
I
agree
play fantasy
with you.
games.
Yeah, like how do you feel though about in a Egyptian game there's a llama that poops rainbows? In a game set in ancient Egypt.
that would be weird.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's my example. I know Kyle said he likes crazy armor if it's on like a deity or like a powerful being. I'm fine as long as the crazy armor is like hard to get and it like has a meaning of like I worked hard for this. Like I had that issue with Destiny. Some of the armors look really cool, but it's because you bought them for $10. And it's like that kind of takes away how special it was. Versus the Daedric armor in Skyrim, I forgave the outlandish look because it was difficult to get. You had to put in work. You had to, it's like one of the best armors in the game.
Yeah. That's a whole other conversation of working towards, don't put everything in cash shops. Give me cool armor sets that I can actually earn in game. But that's sort of a lost model.
So if you were designing a game, like how would you give the flashy fantasy things right away? Like, is that part of your game design or is that end game only?
End game only.
Okay.
I was like, are all the characters going to look like that right off the rip?
No. I think the starter armor should be hideous almost. Like, to the point where you can't wait to get out of them so that it incentivizes you to go and start that path of,
Loincloth.
some,
Like,
Something.
Since we're talking about it, I did like how Destiny approached the beginning armor, Destiny 2. It was the armor from the first game, but it was like thrown together with other clothing parts because it was damaged. And so you'd have like a regular boot as your shoe, but like the shin of like an armor plate shin, and it looked cool. It was like a urban warfare. And then you got how they kind of did it was like, the better armor got cleaner and cleaner, and then I
Perfect.
liked how they did that.
I like that. Yeah, I just think that there should be. I don't think you should start a game. I think Elden Ring does this like really bad. Like I think Fashion Souls, even though people somehow find a way, I don't think that your starter armor. Like I think their starter armors look really cool. Like the samurai starter armor is like actually sick.
I straight up, my very first playthrough, I used that armor to the very end.
Yeah,
I never even
Right.
changed. I did a full like samurai cosplay. I did the Uchigatana, and I took that with me until the very end of my very first playthrough. I didn't even.
But you
use
can
any
do it
other
because you can
weapons.
upgrade it.
Yeah.
So
I leveled up to 25. Had a bleed build, and it was before because if you guys remember, Rivers of Blood was actually broken at launch. Didn't work.
yeah.
It took them like 4 months to finally patch that. So I used Uchigatana my very first playthrough, and that was literally the starting gear. I never changed it throughout the whole game.
yeah. See, for me, I would love. I think any game that I would design would have a very very thorough transmog system.
I love
Very
transmog.
very thorough. I don't think I would make the transmogs free. I think I would make them cost some currency that you would have to go and achieve or buy or something like that. But
Preferably in game.
yeah,
and have it be. I prefer the transmog when it locks. You have to have you've had to have the armor at one point.
Would have had to have earned that
Yeah.
first. Yeah.
Ghost Recon Breakpoint is funny. You can get a regular ball cap that has more armor rating than a military helmet.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, sounds
For
about right.
Ubisoft.
I have one more image I generated. The only thing I changed was I said make them like they're the
Oh.
cover of a comic book.
Oh, damn. Okay.
These guys are so much more Giga Chad than we will ever be.
I love how it says Marvel.
Yeah, like
It has straight up says Marvel.
it just it's
Captain
got-
America in
They
the
can't
back.
rip off like Godzilla, but they
but
can
they
rip
could just
off
say
Marvel.
Marvel, Captain America shield.
Interesting.
Wow.
Just one lone mic and a Diet Coke. Love it.
I say we all start working out and we try and recreate this,
shredded.
this image.
Honestly, that's pretty dang close to what you guys look like.
Who's who?
This is you for sure, and this is
Yeah?
and this is Kyle.
We both have blue eyes for some reason.
Why didn't you ask who's me?
Uh,
What happened?
Uh,
What happened?
Joe Rogan no, okay. In the middle.
That's awesome, actually.
That's amazing.
yeah. Your fingers are a little fucked up.
a little wavy.
A little
little
wavy.
bit.
A little too much.
I don't
Too
even
much going
notice
on.
that.
Look at the muscle definition.
Look
on
at
your
that.
biceps.
Dude, look at your smirk. You're like,
I'm involved.
and
Staring you down. I even have green eyes.
we're both just like leaning on you and shit. Like,
You guys are way hell. Yeah. This is cool.
And then each photo where he's in the middle has his hands like this, right?
yeah, so it's
Yeah, what is that?
like he just knows who you
It
are.
just knows. Hell yeah. We're
That
going to
is
start working
funny.
out.
Yeah, this is our new goal.
Jacked to become a cover art for.
Yeah, this is our new goal to look like this so we can recreate this photo.
That's a hell of a video title. How AI helped me set my goals.
How AI helped me get in shape.
Jacked. Well, Dylan, where can people find us?
They can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, any major podcast listening platform, as well as we stream every Tuesday around 7 p.m. Pacific
Today we're a
time.
little late.
Yeah, we're a little late today. On YouTube, where hopefully you're watching us right now.
Hell
And you
yeah.
can also watch these streams after the fact, also on YouTube. But yeah, come join, chat in our chat. We'll talk with you, and it's a lot of fun.
Every Tuesday.
Every
All right.
Tuesday.
And with a good kitty, you get the dub.
Bye, guys.